My name is Ashley Seifert. Um, I'm originally from Fontana, California, but I went to school in Upland. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm just your average girl who decided to pick up like some glue and an X-Acto knife and do something with my hands.
So my name is Thomas Martinez Pilnik. I am from London, England, where I was born and raised. My parents are both from São Paulo, Brazil, but I've been in the US since 2012. So all over the place, but here in LA and moving to Connecticut now. I go by he, him, and I'm a sculptor and installation artist. So we're in Manhattan Beach, which is really foreign to me. I had a studio in Lincoln Heights for just under a year before this, which is in Northeast LA, and obviously COVID changed the world, and with that my life changed too, and I had to decide what quarantine would look like for me. And I was lucky to have a partner who's called Jake, and his family's welcomed me into this home in this neighborhood where they grew up, and we made it work. And I'm really lucky to have a space that I can create still, and that I've been able to do projects in. And in preparing for my move, it was a great temporary spot. Manhattan Beach is a strange place. It's got a sordid history. It's got a violent and racist history. It's a very white space. It's not necessarily where I would choose to position myself, especially as an artist who wants to do social impact work and wants to work with within diverse and complex communities. And I myself, as someone who's come from around the world, it's been a tough space to really understand.
For real, I live in a super white neighborhood where people will call the cops on you at any point. You know, like honestly, I don't like it living here. I mean, it's nice and all, but like I would prefer to live somewhere real. I mean, growing up in Fontana, like that's KKKville. You know, like I mean, that's just the truth. Have vans pull up, try and get it, like you know, like crazy shit. It's just never feeling like you're a part of it. And I think for a long time when I was growing up, I didn't want to be a part of it because that meant different. That meant danger. You know, people were always trying to touch my hair. Like I literally had a man at the grocery store 2 years back come towards me with my fro. It was like this. Can I touch it? It's like some zombie shit. Like it's crazy. Like I could not believe it. It felt surreal. And to live in this area where people are protesting for Black Lives Matter and then somebody pulls out an AR the first week. And like it's nonstop. You know, like the American flag has become like this symbol of hate, and I don't want it to be that. You know, we live here. You know, I think that we can create it ourselves. I think the place that I'd like to live is where people value each other. And people value each other's differences more so. That there are people with gross amounts of money, you know, like billions. Like this is absurd. I feel like we should all be able to agree on that. I feel like we should be able to care for each other, and that if we have access to materials, why would we not share? You know, like, I mean, I got lavender everywhere over here. I've been cutting that shit up and sending that out, you know? Or like, oh, well, I can make a tea here or there, you know? I got lemons. Okay, I'll send you lemons. I'll trade something back. But it shouldn't necessarily be like such a take society. It's like, where is the reciprocity? Where is giving? Where is, you know, kindness?
I want to be an educator. I think to be an artist is to be an activist, is to engage in political radicalism, is to liberate the radical imagination, is to push things further than what could be possibly mirrored in society. And I used to work with mirrors, and every time I think about that, I'm like, why did I work with mirrors? Because I was holding up a mirror and I wasn't allowing the imagination to push that forward. And so once I got rid of that confine, and once this moment hit, when you think about a pandemic, when you think about 130,000 deaths in the United States alone, when I think of my lack of ability to visit my grandparents who are potentially suffering in Sao Paulo, and my mom looking after them isolated, and then when I think of global racial uprising, when I think of the crux of racism that happens in the United States that I was a foreigner to until I lived here and was so blind to until I really almost got killed by it. To be an artist right now is to think so wildly outside the bounds of what exists, because what exists right now is just so devastating. And I think we all make art because we have to, and because it's the only way that we're going to survive it.
I didn't ever think I was an artist, you know, like, I was told that I wasn't. So, I don't know, I think that starting to do it was surprising, to me at least, you know. I'm not sure if it was surprising to, like, other people around me, but to me, I was surprised. But, I don't know, like, I was doing sports, like, I played soccer for a long time. I was not into school, you know, just more so like hang out with my friends. I've always been in love with music, like, as y'all can tell. Yeah, that's like my true passion. So like when I'm creating art, I always like listen to a specific genre of music in order to, you know, kind of capture that feeling with it. I think I've discovered that my art has a purpose, you know, like that other people see themselves within it. Like before I was just like doing whatever, you know, I really didn't value it, you know, before all this came up, you know, it's like that imposter syndrome, you know. But this pandemic has like inadvertently, and like civil rights movement has inadvertently brought us together, even though we're distant. Even though we have to wear masks every time that we see people, you know, it's that you actually enjoy what you're doing, and I think that that translates to my art as well. You know, that I actually value the things that I do with my hands. And I think that we're taught that we aren't supposed to. You know, we're supposed to minimize and be humble, you know, and humbling is just lowering yourself below somebody else for them. Like, I mean, that's the definition. So, I mean, I think it's taught me to be proud, you know, in what I do personally and who I am fully, and really not care. You know, it's like, shit, like, who knows what's gonna happen, but I'm gonna live my life like this, you know. I don't know, it's in a way liberating, even though we're literally going into quarantine again. Yeah.
To be able to just sit with yourself and explore those feelings is really empowering, because I think to live in a capitalist America is to live in a place that only values your productivity if you're making money, if you're doing something for a major corporation, and we've all had to stop. And to be able to stop and rest and feel like a European again and be like, I'm not doing anything, I'm not making money, I'm not talking about that, I'm just thinking and resting and looking after myself, has been really empowering, and I'm glad to have been able to do that. I'm in a privileged position to have been able to take that time, because I'm not an essential worker, I'm not a healthcare hero, I'm not someone who's still a slave to the corporate machine despite a global pandemic. And so I don't know how I'm going to take that in moving forward, but I hope to hold on to some of that.
Black Summer to me is about duality. It's about love and hate, you know, which is the same as your identity living while a black person. To me, Black Summer is joy, but also loss. So, I mean, you just have to find yourself and situate yourself within this movement. You know, to me, it's about being yourself completely and wholly. It's about loving yourself regardless of what other people say.
Black Summer feels like an opportunity to leverage your power and to say, this isn't going anywhere, this is a permanent feature of our lives, we're going to name a fucking season after it, and it's going to go on forever. And it's a space in which I can participate as someone who wants to see this kind of energy and this kind of influence continue for a really long time. And y'all have set up this kind of perfect platform for artists to be able to put their names down for a cause that they believe in, and to make art that does something that's worthwhile
I'd tell her that she was worthy, that she was enough, that she was good, you know. And I would tell other people that. I tell other people that all the time, every day, you know, but it's to tell yourself. And I think that it's hard to really grasp what that means, you know, like what does that mean when you have to do so much work to get there? It's like just keep pushing, like keep doing the work because it will pay off, even though you cannot see the light at the end of that tunnel. You have to keep putting one foot in front of the other foot, and you'll get there. But you don't need to know why you're doing these things or how to do these things to do them. Just put yourself out there.
Keep making, and don't let anyone tell you that you're not, because that's gatekeeping, and that's insidious, and that's a way that they will push you to the margins, will suck you of your energy, and will make you just another cog in a machine that doesn't make any sense. I think the art world is both a very complex and horrible, but also beautiful and accepting place. And know that the art world is not solely an MFA at Yale and a show at Gagosian. It's a world where everyone is allowed to express the best and the worst parts of themselves and to create drawing from that trauma, but also drawing from that beautiful lived experience that we all have in this world. And just keep going, just keep making, just be as pure and true to yourself as you possibly can, because that work is going to come